Today I'm going to talk about the unit circle. As you can see, we have here a circle. A unit circle means the radius is 1. So it's like 1 unit. Now, that means the distance from here to here is 1. The distance from here to here is 1, 1, and 1 as a distance. This is a Cartesian plane. So this is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. When we talk about coordinates, this is going to be here +1 and that's going to be -1, -1 and the +1 as coordinates. So the x coordinate here is +1, the distance is 1, that's radius, and the x coordinate here is -1 but the distance is 1. Similarly for +1 and -1 here and there. Now regarding the angles, when we talk about a unit circle, the angle starts from 0 and it goes to 90 degrees, then to 180 degrees, then to 270 until it makes a complete circle and you will have 360 degrees. So the angle here is 0, but now I'm going to talk in radians. 0, 90 means pi on 2. Here it was 180, which is same as pi in radians, and this is 3 pi on 2, and a complete circle it makes 2 pi here. This is called the first quadrant in the Cartesian plane. This is called here the second quadrant. This is called here third quadrant, and this is the fourth quadrant. Now, in the first quadrant, the x-axis here is positive and the y-axis is positive. X is cosine and y is sine of theta. Let's say we have an angle theta in the first quadrant, the point P here. That P has x and y as coordinates. X is the cosine of theta and the y is the sine of theta. So as we said, in the first quadrant x is positive and y is positive. That means cosine theta is positive and sine of theta is positive. Now you know that tan of theta is sine over cosine, so it's gonna be tan of theta will be sine over cosine, which is positive over positive, that means positive. So in the first quadrants, all of them are positive, cosine, sine, and tan. In the second quadrant, here, the x is negative, this is the negative part of the x-axis, and the y is positive. So what happens? As you know, x is negative and y is positive. We said x is cosine. So cosine of theta is negative, sine of theta is positive. Now tan of theta will be sine over cosine. Sine over cosine, it's positive over negative, so it is gonna be negative. So tan of theta here is negative. Okay? Now in the third quadrant, both the x-axis and the y-axis are negative. So the x here is negative and the y here is negative. So you have x is negative and y is negative. So you have cos is negative, sine of theta is negative. That means tan of theta will be negative over negative. That means it will be positive. Now we come to the fourth quadrant. In the fourth quadrant we have x is positive but y is negative. So x is positive and y is negative. Let's see what happens. That means x, which is cosine of theta, so cos or cosine of theta is positive in the fourth quadrant, and sine of theta will be negative. Now that means tan of theta, which is sine over cosine, it is gonna be negative over positive, which is negative. Now let's talk about it. In the first quadrant, all are positive, sine, cosine, and tan. So I'm gonna write the word all. Now in the second quadrant, between pi over 2 and pi, only sine of theta is positive. The rest are negative. Cosine is negative, tan is negative. So only sine. Sine starts with S. I'm gonna write the word students here. So I have all means all are positive, students means only sine S is positive. Now we come to the third quadrant. We have only tan is positive, so I'm gonna write the word take. So it's T. Only tan is positive, the others will be negative. In this case, only cosine is positive, so you can say chemistry. So I refer to this sentence, all students take chemistry. Here I used chemistry because it's C, only cosine is positive. So that's how I can determine which is positive and which is negative in each quadrant. Thank you for watching.